Wake Forest got a new face. That's it. Jake Dickert. He's been on ACCPM a few times, but there are going to be some new eyeballs on this team and players. And it starts with that Robbie Ashford, who coach has already bragged about last time he was on the show. Got an athlete back there running the field. But again, new man coming in from Washington State. With that said, Jake Dickert joins us here at the Ritz-Carlton. When I talked to you last month, I said, listen, get the wife, the kids, come on down, sunny time. I know the weather was a little iffy earlier, but man, it's still a beautiful place. But I now know that you're making this transition and you're glad to be here, I know.
Absolutely. Well, first I got to congratulate you, Pac-Man. You had an amazing weekend.
Yeah.
Your daughter got married. Congratulations.
Yeah.
What an amazing moment. My wife's here with me, and we're just enjoying a little time away. And, Mother's Day weekend was fantastic, so it was great to be here.
Can I get a loan?
Yeah. Not quite.
I love it.
When you're coming into spring meetings like this, and you're a first timer here, you did it in the Pac, but now you're in the ACC. What's your role here this week?
Well, a little bit of meet and greet, right?
Yeah, right.
Just got an opportunity to meet Coach Sweeney, and I think our league is just really filled with tremendous ambassadors for the game of football, and really just kind of embrace meeting everybody, getting to know the lay of the land, kind of getting some of the inner competitive secrets, if we may, but just excited about just really being in this prestigious conference and really showing, what we can do as we work toward build Wake Forest.
Is there a coach here this week? Look, the coaching world is so small that you go back with, or that you had a prior relationship with, that you'll see here this week?
Well, actually, he gets to present Craig Bull, who's actually my greatest mentor, as the executive director of the AFCA, and I would not be sitting at this desk in front of you guys without that man. He took a chance on me as a young graduate assistant. He hired me back again at the University of Wyoming, so it's just been an amazing partnership and relationship, and it'll be great to see him.
Last time I talked to you, you were heading into the spring game. What did we learn from that event? And now moving forward, what are we working on, which I'm sure is a little bit of everything?
Yeah, I think we learned we're a young team, and I think it was good. I am a believer in spring games, to get the sights and sounds and get the pads on and get some environment. The kids were running on the hill in a legacy stadium, and just to see some of those emotions of our guys and see it all play out. Deshaun Purdy had his best day at quarterback. Obviously, it was a very light day for Mr. Damon Claiborne and that piece of our offense that, from day one, we've continued to build around in every way we possibly can. And I think our defense, really, Dylan Hazen, Devon Patterson, Nick Anderson, some staple names that Wake Forest people in the ACC will know, have really been stalwarts to this transition. So they're playing fast and really believing in our scheme, which is really powerful.
I think everybody knows you're going to put a load on Damon Claiborne because he is a returning player and the best on that offensive side of the ball. How are you challenging Damon Claiborne this season with the role he's going to have? Well,
it isn't just his role. There's leadership, there's character, there's intangible pieces. I mean, let's be honest, Damon was the most recruited player in all the country. I mean, All-American kid coming back. But when Damon put that stake in the ground to say, I want to be here at Wake Forest, it means a lot to me to finish my career here. And then our whole focus was to find 7 offensive linemen to put in front of him, to sign 4 tight ends. It's going to be a little bit different. He's getting really comfortable with our outside zone schemes and our gap schemes. He's just been phenomenal, and he is the stalwart of that offense and really makes our team go. So it's been really fun just kind of getting to know him as a person and see him to take that next step in his leadership ability.
All right, totally offbeat question. You guys get together. You're one of the newbies.
Yeah.
When you walk in the football meeting room for the first time, is there somebody you're sitting beside, sitting across? I mean, I know you're going to listen, right? That's when everybody says, hey, you're a newbie.
That's right.
You listen.
That's right.
You absorb all this stuff. But what's the game plan for a new coach walking into that room for the first time?
I just, like I said, just kind of establish yourself a little bit. Just enjoy the moment. Know what we're here to do as far as obviously learning about each other, learning about the league, making sure that things are going smoothly. But it's just to establish ourselves at Wake Forest a little bit. We're not the little engine that could. We're not the try-hard team. We're here to put something really special together. And this is a new era and a new chapter of our program and organization. And the best part of it all is that I got to take over for a highly tenured coach in Dave Clawson, a man that's insanely respected in all walks of this game, He held us and gave us a tremendous foundation. So just really proud to take that over.
We were recently talking about Wake Forest on our, spring football show.
Yeah.
We were saying, well, the slow mesh, it's been that for so long. That's what's been associated with Wake Forest. What are we going to see offensively? Like, it's going to look very different, and we know what you did at Washington State, but what can people expect to see from Wake Forest on the field that we hadn't seen in years past?
Well, I think even different from what we did at Washington State.
Right.
I had 3 years as head coach out there, two generational talents at quarterback. I just believe physicality travels. And looking at it from a defensive lens, we're going to run the quarterback. We're going to get ourselves in a position where we can take the ball up top, but it's got to be physical, right? So a lot of formations. Coach Ezell, it was a cool story because I had an offensive coordinator job open at Washington State, and he's an Alabama guy and was an OC at South Al. And I said, hey, what do you think about coming up to Pullman, Washington? He's like, absolutely not. Right? So when I got the job 10 days later at Wake Forest, I said, well, what do you think about coming to Winston-Salem? He's like, that's absolutely what I want to do. So it was a cool thing to put together. But I love people that maximize the talent and the abilities around them. And Coach Ezell has got a unique background, obviously, with Coach Saban and the Crimson Tide. So just really love the style of football that we're going to implement. It'll be vastly different than anything we did at Washington State.
When you joined me last month, we started talking about barbecue joints. Have you added any more to the list on the recruiting trail since the last time?
I've been down to Camel City. I still stayed in Lexington. It's kind of my home run as I'm traveling back and forth through Charlotte. When you find the good ones, you don't need to find other ones.
That's it. Well, that's how I am. Once you got 2 or 3 that you're absolutely guaranteed locks, it's like, I don't mind experimenting a little bit, but man, you got it. When you're on the road, you want something you can depend on. Just like you guys in football. You go on the road, you got to lean to what works,
You're
right?
I stay in my wheelhouse, and obviously now being in North Carolina, that pulled pork sandwich is just kind of my home run.
Yeah, he took me to my first Lexington barbecue visit.
There you go.
Yeah, the OG right here.
There you go.
That's what he's all about.
Have you thought about what it's going to be like first game at home?
It's going to be a special moment. It's going to be a special moment for me, my family, obviously all of Wake Forest to finally get to that moment. August is coming quick. Like, it's going to be here really fast. And everyone has these 90 days, but our team, our mentality, the 40 new faces that we've brought in, this has not been a light lift. But the character of the men in the room is everything that matters. And working in the dark and putting who we are in the weight room on that field and getting our guys ready is going to be a special summer. So it kind of gets my juices flowing a little bit thinking about running out of that tunnel and, just excited for the future.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Yeah.
And again, we look forward to working with you down the road.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Jake Dickert running the show for the Demon Deeks.